Hey guys, James here, and it's been a little while since I've actually done a commentary now. I've had a cold for the past week or so, and my voice might sound a little bit different today. And I want to apologize ahead of time for any sniffling or coughing, anything I do like that. I have been feeling a lot better, but there's still, some of the remnants of that. But anyway, today I finally played some more Battlefield 4. I hadn't really played the last few days. And here I'm using the UTS-15 shotgun. 15 for 15 rounds, which is pretty good. It has good range, it has good, damage overall. And when I'm playing Team Deathmatch here, I'm using it with the full choke and the laser sight, and in the Domination game, I'm actually not using it with either of those attachments. But I think that's alright. You get to see what it can do with one set of attachments, and, it's a little bit of variety with that. In Battlefield 4, I don't feel like I've had that much success with shotguns, but my stats really disagree with that. I've played about 4 games with the UTS, and I have 55 kills or something like that with it. Actually, the 870 and the M26 Mass are my 3rd and 4th highest kill guns. And as I look through my stats, there's like a lot of random kills that I have with, the Spaz, the QBS, the Hawk, the Shorty. So I guess I'm doing alright with shotguns, it's just sort of sneaking up on me. I guess I don't use them as much as, assault rifles, carbines, things like that. Obviously those are, better all around, and you're going to have more success just in an average game if you go in with one of those compared to going in with a shotgun. But anyway, I didn't really want to ramble too much about shotguns, so now I'll get into sort of the main point of this video. I actually hadn't played for a few days like I mentioned, but when I was playing today, I was not having any luck at all. I was playing the China Rising map packs. I guess, it's all premium people at this point. So overall the talent level maybe a little bit more than in a normal server. But I thought maybe, I was just playing bad because I was sick and because I hadn't played in a few days. Then I got into a couple Domination games and a couple Team Deathmatch games. And that is, of course, where I got this gameplay from. But before this happened, I just had a ton of really bad luck with Rooftops. And it got me thinking, just why the Rooftops in this game? Obviously it's something that's been there since the beta, and, it's in all the maps, it's something that's been in development for a long time. It's something they clearly put a lot of thought into. But the way I look at it, they took something that was terrible to me from Battlefield 3. Just all those spots on, like, Zeba Tower, they had that top rail where, people would camp up there. And, of course, the roof on Karg Island was pretty bad in Team Deathmatch. And the crane, of course, in No Shar Canals. So they took these spots that don't really serve a normal purpose on the battlefield, and they just found a way to make it worse and to make it so that it's in every map. And spots like that make sense in Conquest, even Rush really, because it's just a bigger scale overall. But in infantry-based games, it's just stupid to have spots like that. I was playing Domination on China Rising. I actually played on, I think it's Altai Range. Someone with that giant, standard battlefield observatory thing. And that map for Domination just has terrible balance. Like, if you hold that building up there, basically it's game over. Because not only is there that giant structure, there are rooftops below that just have great clipping spots, and you can pretty much defend any of the objectives from there, and it's really hard to get someone off of one of those spots, because you're fighting literally an uphill battle just to see them. I mean, they just have such an advantage from those spots, and it's not something that you can really say, oh, well, they got up there so they deserve it, because their team spawned up there from the beginning of the game, and they held it the entire time. I mean, there was nothing you could really do to combat that. And looking around at other maps, there are similar spots on pretty much all of them. I mean, Zavad, Gulmid Railway, Siege of Shanghai, of course, is really everything except for Dawnbreaker, Paracel Storm, and Operation Locker. And Flood Zone, that map is just entirely roofs. So there's one map that they just completely build around this idea of rooftop warfare. And I don't really understand what the purpose of that was. And like I said earlier, clipping off these roofs is just too good. If you don't know, clipping is, what people would call head glitching, where you're taking cover behind something, and pretty much all the enemy can see is your head, and it's going to be incredibly hard for them to shoot you, because they're also, in this case, at a lower angle. But something that makes these spots even more powerful now is that you can defend most of the objectives from them. Now, is it really camping or, bad, something that should be frowned upon if they are defending objectives? Well, I don't know. I actually had a game of Conquest Large on Hainan Resort, and if I ever do make it into a video, it's probably going to be called Stingers for Days, because it was an hour-long game. I probably shot down 20 choppers. That's not an exaggeration at all. It might be more than that. And I was just sitting on the roof the whole time. Someone had thrown down an ammo pack for me, and I just went to town on some choppers. the same idea that, like, that spot for taking out a chopper, there's no cover that they can get to. You know, there's nothing that they can do to avoid your second missile unless they're doing that glitch where they, like, switch seats and keep getting flares. But it was a spot that I got to pretty much based off of a spawn. You know, I couldn't really say that I earned my way up to that roof. I mean, you know, I got in the elevator and pressed a button. And of course people tried coming up and, you know, taking over the roof from us, but that didn't work out because we had a bunch of other people up there too. So sort of relating that back to just the standard domination rooftops, you know, they climb up a ladder at the beginning of the game and, you know, they put down a claymore or they put down, you know, some C4 or something else to trap you, to stop you from getting up there, or just one person's looking at the ladder, you know, something like that, and boom, all of a sudden they're up there all game, nothing you can do about it. And of course, there are some things that can kind of counter that, like you know, M320s if they're standing next to a wall that's up there. I actually pointed that out in one of my earlier Battlefield videos, where on Shanghai you can sort of bank explosives off of the billboards, and that can take people out a lot of times. But not every map really has spots like that. And if they're playing smart, you know, they're going to avoid the spots where they could easily be hit with explosives. And also the remote mortar, that's something that people would always talk about. I tried using it a couple times. Maybe I was just having bad luck with it, or the other people knew how to defend against it. But it seemed pretty much just like in Battlefield 3, where you're going to get about 7,000 hit markers before you actually get a kill on someone. You can fire it a lot faster, of course, but still, it's hard to keep up with people who are actually moving. And actually, a lot of that same cover that you can bank explosives off of will protect them in that situation. And then, of course, the mortar actually has an ammo count now, so it's not just that unlimited spray. So really, that just doesn't seem like an effective counter to people on the roof. So overall, as a fan of the infantry-based game modes in this game, you know, Domination and Team Deathmatch, I'm just not a fan of most maps. You know, it just doesn't play out very well to have all these people on the roof. And in the gameplay you're seeing right now, I feel like I got very lucky because there weren't very many people on the roof, and the people that were on the roof weren't really doing too much to sort of interrupt the gameplay of those who weren't on the roof. I don't know if these roofs are something that's really game-breaking for me. I mean, at this point I'm still playing an average of about 10 hours a week. But something that's really annoying to me, and not even so much annoying as it is frustrating, because you can play as well as you can play on the ground, but if there are a couple people up on that roof, there are situations in which you just can't win. So hopefully some of the new maps are better designed to not have all these roofs. Actually, a couple of the China Rising maps weren't too bad in that regard, but they had some other issues that I wasn't really a fan of, and I just wasn't having luck in those servers. Generally speaking, I try not to complain about things, you know, and maybe I was just in a bad mood from being sick, or I was just having bad luck, you know, I was running into people who were being really smart about how they were on the roof. People who are going to exploit it sort of to the fullest extent of it. So who really knows, you know, this isn't always an issue. You know, there are the games like I'm playing in, as you see right here, where it's not really an issue. But it's just really frustrating because this was something that I hoped would improve from Battlefield 3, but instead they just went the complete opposite way. They made it a focal point of their game, and they just made it so much worse with what you can do from the roofs. So that's all I really have to say about this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, you know, about roofies, as I call them. Map design, you know, what would you change? What maps do you like for, you know, different game modes and such? If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like on it, and if you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and subscribe. That'll make it a lot easier for you to find my future videos. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.